pretty cool stuff coming out of Mountaineer Hoops. We've got the scheduling. Let's go ahead and talk about the Big 12 schedule that came out. And I want to kind of give my thoughts on it a little bit. But, I mean, I kind of like the way it lays out. West Virginia gets to play the very first Big 12 game of the season. Now, it's on the road at Ames, Iowa. But they do get to play the very first Big 12 game of the season, which is kind of exciting. Ross Hodge even talked about in his press conference yesterday how, West Virginia gets to be the first game of the season. That's pretty cool stuff. But the schedule right now, for those who can see it, you can follow along with me. Obviously, they start the season January 2nd, the Big 12 season, January 2nd on the road at Ames, Iowa on a Friday night. It'll be the highlight, should hopefully be the highlight game of the night. Big 12 right there in front of the world, right? Pretty exciting. Game 2, they come back to Morgantown to face the Cincinnati Bearcats on January the 6th. On January the 10th, the third Big 12 game of the year, they stay at home, and they have the Kansas Jayhawks coming to Morgantown. So they get to play Iowa State and Kansas in 2 of the first 3 games of the season. 2 teams who are both ranked in the preseason top 25 poll, and 2 teams who are expected to compete for a conference title. And then, you can't rule out Cincinnati either. Cincinnati's a really good basketball program. You can expect it will be a very competitive basketball game. But that January 10th game against Kansas is on a Saturday. Then they turn around and travel to Houston for a midweek game on a Tuesday night in Houston on the 13th. Then they come back home for a Saturday game at what is now the Hope Coliseum, which we'll talk about in a minute, on January 17th against Colorado. So they do have a little bit of a travel deal there. They have to go from Morgantown to Houston and back to Morgantown. Again, they're on a jet, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Houston's an easy flight in, easy flight out, direct, right? So it shouldn't be that big a deal. Now, once they play Colorado at home on the 17th of January, which is a Saturday, they then travel out west to Tempe to face Arizona State on a Wednesday night. So at least they get it's not a Saturday Monday turnaround, it's a Saturday Wednesday turnaround. I appreciate the Big 12 for doing that. I think they're trying to make an effort to help these teams in travel as much as they possibly can. I don't see a ton of Saturday Monday turnarounds for the Mountaineers on this season. And I really think that's a good thing. Now, after they play Arizona State on the 21st, which again is a midweek game on a Wednesday, they stay in Arizona, travel to Tucson to take on Arizona on the 24th. So the Big 12, not only did they not give them a Saturday, Monday turnaround, they also allowed them to play back-to-back road games in Arizona on the 21st and the 24th. That way they don't have to make that extra trip. Again, thanks to the Big 12 for that. Then they come back home to play two home games in a row on January 27th and January 31st against Kansas State and Baylor. Then they get back on the road to go to Cincinnati for a February 5th game, which is a Thursday night game. So again, not a Saturday, Monday turnaround. They play Saturday, January 31st. They don't play again until February the 5th on the road at Cincinnati, which is a fairly short trip. Then they come back home on the 8th, which is a Sunday, to play Texas Tech. Then they go from there. They don't play again until the 14th of February, almost a week later. They travel to Orlando to face UCF on the 14th of February, which is a Saturday. Then they come back and play back in Morgantown on the 18th against Utah. Then they go back on the road on the 21st of February to play TCU, which is on a Saturday. Now, here's a Saturday-Tuesday turnaround. They do have to play Oklahoma State on a Tuesday, but it's on the road. So they're traveling to they're traveling to Fort Worth to face TCU. Then they just shoot up the road, probably a bus trip or maybe a quick flight, probably a bus trip, up to Stillwater, Oklahoma to face Oklahoma State on a Tuesday night. Then they fly back home to Morgan. So, again, thank you to the Big 12 for letting them stay out west or in the Midwest, whatever, for that road trip. Then they come back to Morgantown on February the 28th to face BYU, which is a Saturday game. Then they travel to Manhattan, Kansas on March 5th, which is a Thursday game. I'm sorry, March 3rd, which is a Tuesday game. So that's a Saturday-Tuesday matchup or turnaround. Then they come back to Morgantown for a March 6th Friday night matchup against where UCF makes the return trip to Morgantown. So not a ton of Saturday. I didn't even see any Saturday, Monday turnarounds there for West Virginia, at least not where they have to make a trip. And there are at least 2 times where they get to make one trip and before they have to come back home. And I'm hoping, I don't know when finals week is, but I'm hoping they don't have to play a ton of games in finals week. I know Coach Huggins used to try to avoid that, but I like the way this schedule lays out. You do have to play Iowa State on the road, which is not, and you have to play Houston on the road, which is going to be, both of those games are going to be brutally tough. But you get Kansas at home, you get Baylor at home, and you get BYU at home. All 3 of those teams are expected to be really good. So you get 3 of your tougher opponents at home, and you get 3 of your tougher opponents in Arizona, Houston, and Iowa State on the road. So fairly well-balanced schedule. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. There are many opportunities there for West Virginia to get marquee wins. There are, opportunities for them to limit travel. So, again, shout out to the Big 12 for doing what they can to help West Virginia out in that regard. So I like the way it lays out. I think if this team can get themselves together, which I have utmost confidence in Coach Hodge and what they can do, I think this schedule sets up really well for this Mountaineer basketball team to have get some big wins in Big 12 play. Let me know in the comments what you think about this schedule for the Mountaineers, this basketball schedule. I like it. Now let's go ahead and talk about the naming rights. The WVU Coliseum is no longer the WVU Coliseum, at least not officially. It is now called the Hope Coliseum. Great article, just direct from the WVU website. It says the West Virginia University Department of Intercollegiate Athletics and Gold and Blue Enterprises have entered into a historic 10-year partnership with Hope Gas that will rename one of the legendary college basketball arenas in the nation. The iconic WVU Coliseum will now be known as Hope Coliseum and marks the first name change in the 55-year history of the most visible building on the Evansdale campus. The extensive partnership covers naming rights, sponsorship, and future donations to WVU athletics and will solidify the Coliseum's elite status for many years to come. The commitment from Hope Gas will generate a significant new annual revenue stream for WVU athletics and its multimedia rights partner, Mountaineer Sports Properties, which is key to keeping the department relevant on the national stage in today's ultra-competitive collegiate sports world. Here's what Hope Gas CEO had to say. He says, I would like to thank WVU and Mountaineers across the state for this exciting opportunity to continue to invest in the future of West Virginia. For more than 125 years, Hope Gas has provided the energy needed for the people of West Virginia to warm their homes, operate their businesses, and provide opportunities for economic development. The people and businesses of West Virginia are driving a bright future for the state. Together, WVU and Hope Gas have served the Mountain State for a combined total of 285 years. Our roots and commitment to the state run deep. This partnership with WVU honors the proud heritage. I'm not going to finish all that. Anyway, it's not in this official announcement, but Mike Casaza over at earsports.com reported that it would bring in $2 million per year to WVU athletics, which is a total of $20 million over that 10-year period. A lot less than I envisioned a naming rights deal would be, but again, I'm not educated really on what these types of deals usually go for. But $2 million is $2 million. And changing it to the Hope Coliseum, putting their signage and their logo on the Coliseum, that's $2 million more you have to pay your athletes. It's $2 million more you have to help save maybe some of your scholarships potentially for your Olympic sports. It might be $2 million to help you add a staff member somewhere, whatever. It's $2 million more than you had. And it all adds up. We've seen a lot of deals with the mulch companies. We've seen deals with Swill Dog. We've seen deals with Planet Fitness, several other companies out there that West Virginia are doing. Now, this is the first naming rights deal, but all of this adds up. If they can build more suites, build more premium seating, whatever, all these different plans they're trying to do, they're now working with the university on different ways the university can help add more money to the athletics budget. I think it's just one of many ways that West Virginia athletics is helping raise money for their athletes, for their department, to help stay competitive. They've made a commitment. The board at West Virginia has made a commitment to making WVU one of a top-tier institution In the Big 12, I heard on a show, was it In the Gun or maybe Three Guys? One of the shows I watch, they said they're committed to making West Virginia a top 5 team in the Big 12 as far as athletic budget. And I think that's great because right now they're near the bottom. So that's going to be a big commitment, a big jump to get from the bottom all the way into the top 5. This right here is just one way you do that. It's a short name, Hope Coliseum. It makes sense. There's already been some clever nicknames. The Gas Chamber. I saw somebody call it the Gas Chamber on social media. People say, us Mountaineer fans, all we ever seem to have is hope. So there's been a lot of really cool sayings and cool, comments about it on social media that have been funny. But, whatever it takes, man. The next thing on the list is the new assistant coach. West Virginia has brought in a new assistant coach. Could this be this year's version of Chester Frazier? They are bringing in a coach from a Power 4 program. His name is Yusuf Ali. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it yet. But according to Keenan Cummings over at On3 and Rivals, it says West Virginia is hiring Arizona State assistant Yusuf Ali for a place on the Mountaineers basketball coaching staff. The news was reported by Joe Tipton and matches reporting from WVSports.com earlier this summer. Ali spent the past few seasons with the Sun Devils, and prior to that was at Simon Fraser University. Before his tenure at SFU, Ali co-founded and served as the head coach of the Toronto Basketball Academy and Deep End Training from 2012 to 2020. He mentored or coached many of Canada's top basketball talents. Known for his ability to both recruit and develop, Ali is a plus addition to the West Virginia staff. He has strong recruiting ties and a network across the grassroots and college landscape, Tipton wrote. So this is a big addition. You've got a guy who's from Canada, so he's going to have connections in Canada with some of the best players in Canada, right? Which could be a huge help for West Virginia, because what we all know, West Virginia has to recruit far and wide. They have to recruit nationally, even internationally, because there are not enough P4 level athletes in the state. You always have a couple a year, maybe a handful a year in football and basketball. In basketball, you normally only get one a year, maybe two. So, you've got to recruit on a national level. Yusuf Ali will help do that. He's young. He's experienced. He has, according to Joe Tipton from On3, he has connections and is a really good recruiter. So I love this addition. He's a final addition to the staff as far as I can, for everything I've read. So, really happy with what Ross Hodge is doing here by bringing in Ali, an experienced Power 4 assistant. The rest of the staff, as far as I can tell, are mostly guys he brought with him from North Texas. Most don't have experience at the P4 level, at least yet. This one does, and I think that's big. Are there some players that might eventually come over with him, some recruits that he had been recruiting? Maybe at the end of the season, some Arizona State players decide to transfer to West Virginia. I don't know. I don't think the transfer window is open right now for basketball. I'm not sure when it opens. But whenever the transfer portal window opens, do you see some Arizona State players jump in to come for the 26-20 or the 26-27 season potentially? Be interesting to see how that all plays out. Maybe like I said, maybe there are some high school recruits or even some portal guys who he's recruited in the past that may not have wanted to go to Arizona State, but may or just want to play for him wherever he's at and may follow him to West Virginia. It'll be interesting to see how this helps on the recruiting front. I'm sure there'll be more come out about that at a later date.